Welcome back to another episode of That's Business. Today's guest, Sharnell James, is a mental health and self-care advocate, educator, and speaker dedicated to advancing wellness, resilience, and self-preservation among women of color. She's the founder of Dear Self-Care, a transformative platform committed to dismantling mental health stigma and promoting sustainable self-care practices. Sharnell, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. So before we dive into Dear Self-Care, let's throw it back. So childhood, I'm guessing we grew up and weren't saying we were going to be the self-care badass, but what did you want to be when you grew up?
That is so funny. I was just sharing this story with someone today about, because they were getting married, and she's like, I never dreamt about being a wife. And I was like, girl, me either. When I was a kid, I always just was dreaming about just being this badass bitch. Like, I don't know. All I cared about was how I can just become the very best version of myself and how I was just going to make an impact on many people's lives. I remember telling my dad, I was like, you're going to see me on TV someday. I'm going to be on a big stage.
Okay.
And that's just how I was. I've always was just a very vibrant person, as you see today. And I just always wanted to be my best version. I didn't know Dear Self-Care was going to be the it of it, but I'm grateful for it though.
So walk us through, because you're a social worker by day and self-care advocate by night, but you do this, it comes into play with the daily work you do. So how did you land on social work and going down that route first?
So I honestly should have did social work for my bachelor's because I knew that I wanted to create something for women. So at one point, I wanted to create like a practice, which is something I still work to do, but it was going to be helping women of color gain like health insurance and learning a lot about, their health and just receiving all that care. And then I got into like the healthcare insurance and I was like, this is very broken. It's very skewed. This is not for me. Let's pivot. And social work came. And I never thought I'd be a social worker because when you hear the word social work, you think about case management and all things. And then I was having conversations with friends and they were like, no, social work is bigger than that. And they were like, you are just this bubbly advocate person and people would love to just like be around you. And I was like, okay. And at the time, I was already working through Dear Self-Care as a platform. And the more I was getting asked for mental health tips and the more I was being asked to like give advice and counsel people, I was like, well, let me add these letters behind my name. Let it all make sense. Let me go back to school. And that's how social work became the by day field for me.
Wow, that's incredible. So you've obviously, like you said, back to childhood, you're telling your dad you're gonna see me on TV and just wanting to be this badass version, which is, you don't see that often with women, of just like growing up this badass, which I'm not surprised knowing you now. But now because you have such a great story behind Dear Self-Care. So how did you come up with the platform and just the absolute gorgeous name that it is? So what's the story behind it?
Yes. So the story behind Dear Self-Care. So although I knew I was going to be this badass bitch, I did not properly prepare. And also too, I also had my moment when I was not the baddest bitch I could be. And that's how Dear Self-Care became birthed. So we're going to take it all the way back, Golden Girls style. Picture it. 2016, Allendale of Michigan at Grand Valley State University. So I was a full-time student. I was an RA. I was the only member of my sorority. I was the MPHC president, girlfriend, friend, sister, all these things. And as I'm doing all these things, I was not taking care of myself. And in that, I found myself not eating. I found myself not going to class and just having these crying spells and just feel so many emotions. And I mentioned, I was sleeping a lot. And I Googled signs of depression. And I was like floored because everything that I had listed was on that site of like, these are the signs of depression. And I'm a very spiritual person. Always yearned to have a relationship with God. And I remember crying to him, like, God, whatever you have me going through, I promise you, I'm going to, if you get me through it, I promise you, I'm going to use this to like help other people. And that's where the birth of Dear Self Care came. But actually, the name itself came because of my depressive episodes. There was this show at the time called Dear White People. It started off as a movie and it became a series that Netflix had released. And around this time, it was the 2016-2017 school year. It was around, the election of Trump that time. Very dark. And that show became like my safe space because picture it, I'm at a PWI. We have all these social justice issues going on, from the Sandra Bland to the Mike Brown to Trayvon Martin, like all these things are happening. And then we're at this predominantly white institution trying to show up, but we have all this madness going around. And there was this character by the name of Samantha White, and she had a radio show that was titled Dear White People. No one knew about her, but they knew about this radio show. And of course, all the whites were upset, but all the blacks was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, she's a badass. I want to do that. And that's how Dear Self Care became birth. And at the time, I couldn't do a podcast, so it was a blog. And then people found out it was me. And honestly, I let it be known because because it was at part of the season where people found out it was Samantha White that was doing it. And I remember she was like, it was a hard thing for her to come out and say it was her. And with mental health being such a taboo topic in the Black community, I was like, okay, this is what's going to make me different. This is what's going to make me a badass because nobody's talking about it. I'm going to do it. And I launched my first blog, and ever since then, Dear Self Care has just been, I'm going to say it, it's been a household name. People have talked about it and they love what I do. And they want to continue to see me do all the other things that I plan to do. So that's the story behind Dear Self Care.
It's just such a good name. And I didn't realize you quite literally did it after Samantha White and going through her journey. I have to watch that show. I've only seen a few episodes, but I got to watch that show. I'm in the need for a new one. So I got to finish it. Now, what is something that I love about Dear Self Care? Because you have a variety of, I feel like, options for people to indulge in. So walk us through. I mean, I personally love your monthly self-care challenges, but what are the various options you provide for people or resources even when working with you or checking out your site?
OMG, girl, what don't I do that I'm still working on? Like, man. So I do have my own journal that is in the process of being relaunched, still working out some kinks with that. But journaling so let me go back. With everything that I do with Dear Self Care is very intentional because it was things that helped me along my journey. And I don't like to be fake. I like to be very real. So the journal was like one thing that I found was my safe space. And I created that, which comes with a a journal challenge that goes when you purchase it. And the reason why it's a free write journal is because a lot of people sometimes they just want to junk journal. They just want to write. And and I was that person. So I wanted to honor that person in me, but then also honor the people who are just like me. We have our monthly self-care challenges. Like, they're free. There's no reason for you not to take care of yourself when you have an actual calendar that gives you different things to do. I also do public speaking where I talk about just giving more in-depth tips of what to do, ranging from, social self-care to emotional self-care and spiritual self-care. I am a therapist, so there's a way for you to get contacted with me if you want to do therapy work. I host events. I'm actually in the planning of doing one for May, so we'll be on the lookout for that. Did I miss anything, Angela? There's a lot of things that I do.
No, and you're in the process of having your own podcast. Now I put it out there, so now you have to do it.
Yeah, so now, y'all, she's been on my head about this. So there we go. It's coming out very, very soon.
Very soon, we swear. Now, talk us through, because there's so much darkness in the world right now. Life is just freaking hard, and life be lifing. So when you're having those days, or what advice do you give for people that just can't get out of the depression, can't get themselves out of bed, can't go through, pull themselves out of it like you did? I mean, what would you say to someone that's in the depths of it right now?
Yeah. Well, for disclaimer, it is hard. It is the hardest thing to do. And honestly, it took me a while to really get through it. And like I said, full disclaimer, because you know how some people like to paint the picture that is easy. And it's not. It's not sunshines and rainbows all the time. And the reason why I say that is because to get out of depression, it not to get out of it, but to work through it, because it's always there, but it's working through it. You have to be okay with doing the hard work. Nothing comes easy. Your mind is probably, your brain is the thing that controls everything. The way you think, the way you feel, the way you act, behave, all of that. And fighting against your mind is a hard battle, okay? Because your depression is probably telling you today, you need to just lay back in bed. There is no point for you to get up today. Everyone's going to be mad at you anyway. Be sad. But when you fight against that and be like, no, we getting up. We're going to go brush our teeth. Because people don't talk about that. When you are depressed, you don't even want to take care of yourself. Hygiene. Like, that's the first thing that goes. But to fight against that and look yourself in the mirror while brushing your teeth and telling yourself, I can do hard things, is the first step. You may have to do this first step probably 10 times. But when you get sick of your own shit, then that's when you're going to want to do better. Because that's what it is. Like, we allow our thoughts to almost like stand in our way. But if you want to get better, you gotta do the legwork. First and foremost, get you a therapist. Secondly, identify your coping strategies that's healthy. I know we like to smoke and drink, but those are all temporary fixes. But like finding other things. I know for me, as I was going through therapy, it was at one point I didn't think I was benefiting from it. So I found something else to help, which was the gym. And the gym helped retrain my mind. Because it's like, oh my God, if I can lift this amount of weight, I can do anything in the world. And then two, like getting into finding your community that you can trust. And that's going to hold you accountable. And also that's going to call you out on your shit. You gotta have people that's gonna be like, girl, I thought we was not gonna be depressed anymore. I thought we was gonna like work through it. Like, what is happening? Sometimes you need that. But that would be like the action steps is to one, tell yourself it's gonna be hard, but then two, fight against it every single day. And you may mess up one day, but as long as you pick yourself back up and try again, that's all that matters. So yeah.
So true. Now, as a woman of color, I'd love for you to tell us, what are some of these norms you see, or like you said, in the Black community, it's not normal to talk about mental health, and let alone it's not normal to talk about mental health, period. But I know even more so in the Black community. So how has that transition been, or what were some people's initial reactions of you announcing this, working through your own stuff and all of that?
People were shocked.
Okay.
I think people are still shocked to this day.
Really?
Yes. Everyone was so surprised because when you see me, I learned this growing up, I mask very well.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
I mask so well. Like, if you see me, you be like, oh my God, like she has it all together, from her hair, the nails, her personality. But baby, this brain be braining. Literally have a whole diagnosis. And that's why I wanted people to see me, because there is no look to having a mental health disorder. There's no look to it. And in our community, talking about like that stigma, it's deemed a negative thing to say that I am depressed, or I have anxiety, or I have bipolar disorder. And it's like, it's almost a superpower to be able to claim your weakness and to fight against it, and then also use it to make the next generation be comfortable enough to come out with it. But yeah, people were shocked when they found out that I was going through, and they also thanked me because of my vulnerability to say this is what I'm going through, and then to be vulnerable enough to document my journey is amazing. Because like even to the like this day, I get text messages that like make me. And they always come when I need them because I'm very hard on myself. It's like, you are my biggest inspiration. I like every day I think about, oh, did Sharnell go to the gym today? If she did, I can. I can. And I'm like, you think of me like that? Like that it makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing every day.
Well, it's so true. And it's just like the community aspect, or especially when, and Sharnell and I met, which is hilarious. We got paired in a group. Thanks to Berhinda. We love you. But it was just like, hi, I think we should stay in touch. I should stay in touch. And life was lifing, and then finally getting together. And I think I've seen you more than some of my closest friends I grew up with in the last few months. But for those people, and it's hard to find community. And I think a lot of people, and I'd love your take on it, just it's a clear, like, you show up to this event, you meet someone, and you have a community. But what has your part of it been? I mean, you've had a lot of transitions the last decade: college, back in Metro Detroit, relationship changes. I mean, all the things. And that's why I especially love you, because I feel like you and I have been on the same journey too, with a lot of changes. So for people that just like aren't sure about it, or just like, what's been that journey the last decade for you?
Oh, and girl, that is were you listening in to a lot of talks I've been having with God lately?
Yes,
Because
God and I are besties. You didn't know? No? It's in my name, Angela. Angela. It's why.
and you're my angel. Hello.
Duh.
But no, like you hit it on the nail, and that's something that I have been like processing currently myself through therapy. Like, yes, y'all, like although I'm telling y'all stuff, I'm still doing the work because there's no end goal when it comes to healing. So I want to give that disclaimer as well. But building my community, my village, has been a very important part of my life in this season. And talking about when we met, remember I told you that like my goal for 2026 is to really hone into my community for my 30s. Because my 20s were all about surviving. And I don't have no ill feelings towards anyone that didn't make it to this chapter of my life. Even the people that I connected with and we're not as close because the growth we transitioned, I still love them. But you have to grow because you don't know who you're going to meet and who's going to help you get to where you're supposed to go in life. It has also put me in a position of how I can show up for people that I don't know like that. So like going back to you, when we met, you were going through one of the hardest parts of your life. And I was like, how can I support you? And I didn't even know you, but I know what it feels to lose someone of a grandmother. And it's like, my God, how can I help you? How can we support one another? And I'm just really big on that because we talk about villages for kids, but don't talk about villages for adults. Because when we go through stuff like grief, when you go through like breakups, when you go through job loss, like you still have to show up. There is no like, when kids are taking a sick day, you can't just not be absent as an adult. So when you have people that support you in that season is so important. So like I said, my 20s was about surviving. I think a lot of the relationships that I had in my 20s were for that, to help Sharnell survive. Now Sharnell is thriving and I need people around me that will allow me to thrive. Oh, I need to save that.
That is good. Put that on a shirt. I'll buy it right now. Yes. Good thing it's recorded. We can go back. Yes. And I think too, what's interesting, because we've bonded a lot over what do leaving space for the people in your life, and the right ones come, and both of you have found like our life partners and the ones that we never believed in, but then when it comes at your door, which we love Chris and Dan, shout out. But it's interesting because I think a lot of people operate from a place of fear of, I don't want to put myself out there. I'm great at masking myself, but I'm an overshare. I probably told you way too many things that you're like, what is this girl talking about? But
If you allow me to
it's,
overshare too.
but that's what brought us together. And I can't stress it enough, and people are probably sick of me here saying it, but when you let those relationships go, I mean, my friend of 25 years, I don't talk to anymore because she just wasn't on the journey. And it's just like one of my biggest haters. And it was hard. I mean, it was like mourning a loss, but now it brings up the energy to meet incredible people like yourself, or find your people that I truly feel like I've known you for a decade and a half and I've known you less than a year.
Right.
So what are your takes on maybe someone that's like, oh, I know I should break up with this person, or oh, I don't want to, I still love my friend, like we've been friends for so long. I mean, what would you say to someone that's kind of struggling with that, maybe a little bit of an identity crisis, I get, or who their people
Yeah.
are?
You know what? I heard this from one of my sorority sisters, and I took it because it's the perfect way to describe when it's time to walk away from a situation, a relationship, whether it's platonic or romantic. Them quiet, those silent voices you hear, they get louder.
Ooh.
So if you are feeling any way, like if yo, okay, let's say it like this. I'm really big on my nervous system because growing up, I think I was too grown at my age, but it's okay. Like, cause why was I
Probably.
thinking about these things? But it was my mama because she introduced me to the movie 13 Going on 30. That's my one of my favorite freaking
One of
movies.
my favorites. Yes.
And I just wanted to be like her because Jenna Rink was just so happy at 30. She was thriving, but she also had some things she had to work through. But I bring that up because I've always wanted to be soft, and being soft is having a regulated nervous system. If you know what it feels like to be regulated and some like at peace, meaning like there can be a fire over here, but you are just sitting still. If someone disrupts that, make you question yourself, make you question those inner thoughts that you have, all the things, they should not be a part of your life, especially in a relationship, a romantic one. I have been there. When you are loyal to a person, like it's hard to do what's best for you. Honestly, this world is designed to pretty much drain people. And when you make that decision to show up for yourself, it is very uncomfortable because people start showing their true colors. But that's more of a reason why you got to keep doing it. And you got to keep pulling yourself away, because I promise you, whatever God subtracts, he adds right back. And I was that one person that was so afraid to walk away because I didn't know what was going to happen. But I had to trust my gut, trust God, and trust that it will all be okay. So that would I would tell somebody, like, if you are thinking about gaining a community, go to that event alone. I did it. And I met Angela. Like, and now we are locked and loaded. Go to that event for the singles, because you may meet your person. I didn't meet my person that way, but yes, just be open to new opportunities because you never know what may happen.
Well, that's it. It's new opportunities and new experiences, because I actually went to that event alone as someone who's an extroverted extrovert and yells on podcasts and almost 200 episodes. But it's still that fear lies within you a little bit, where it's like, okay, I don't know anyone. I only know the host, who is the busiest person there. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to go. And I almost didn't, but I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Just do it. Just go. Why not? But it's interesting when you kind of open yourself up to new opportunities, new experiences. I really feel the universe has your back, or whatever spiritual being you believe in, because it does open up to new experiences. And now looking back, I mean, it's still hard. I mean, there's relationships, there's clients that get pissed, there's people that, do their thing and have their own insecurities, but
Oh, girl.
it just far outweighs it. It's no longer like, I don't care what people think anymore. Like, it's
Yes.
just like, I'm going to show up. And I remember you saying that too, of like, you were iffy about the blog. Like, oh, am I really going to put myself out there? And just the feedback you received, because you're a voice for people who don't have one or don't feel like they should share theirs. And that's so key. Like, we need all the work you do.
Yes. And that's what keeps me going, because if I don't, like, I tell myself that like almost every day, y'all. If I don't show up for this, then someone is not going to hear the benefit of showing up for themselves. Everybody need to hear that, especially my Black women. Honestly, all women. Because at one point their self-care was geared towards predominantly just Black and brown people. But the more I grow as a woman, and the more I connect with other women that are not that does not look the same as me, I'm learning that there's that same trope of women are not supposed to show up for themselves. We're supposed to be a wife, a mom, the sister, the one that everyone can lean on. Like, we are not supposed to be badasses. And that's why I'm like, for all women, but honing in on my Black women, we gotta start taking care of ourselves. And I learned that from watching my mom, of what happens when you don't do it. And that's why I'm like, I got to keep going. And then one thing to give out a disclaimer, the more you show up as yourself, the more you continue to say, this is not working for me, whether it's a relationship, a job, whatever. Like Angela said, there's going to be some haters out there. They are going to project. And it is one of the most uncomfortable positions to be in. But like my best friend told me, you have to know thyself. And you have to know that at the end of the day, you're doing what's best for you. And you will be vindicated. It's not even about being vindicated, but that stuff will happen later down the line. But don't allow someone's projection to keep you from doing what's best for you. That's the best form of self-care.
So true. And you'll learn there's more people that support you than haters there are out there, because that's always everyone's biggest hang up, like, I don't want to start a podcast. I don't want to post because someone hates on me. Like, well, yeah, that does come. I've had it before, but my own people, I'm sitting there like that Michael Jackson meme from Thriller where he's eating the popcorn. Like, that was me just watching the comments go off and people being like, you don't know Angela, like, screw you. I'm like, you don't even need me for this conversation.
Right.
And it's so funny because you impact more people than you think you do. And that's like the biggest takeaway from this entrepreneurial journey, from this podcast, from everyone. The most unlikely of people, you truly are your biggest fans. And that's what's like so awesome.
And that's why I'm serious about this podcast, because not everybody can experience this greatness of me through my public speaking, because not everyone can get in those spaces to hear me speak. It's so much that a reel can capture. But a podcast, everybody can hear this. Because like I told my dad, I'm going to be on Smart TV one day. I mean, I was on Urban Skin RX commercial.
Oh, you were on TV. Okay.
So I'll give that. But it's going to get better. I promise.
Will be the next version. I can't wait to see it. Now, Sharnell, as we wrap this up, what advice do you have for listeners?
Oh, what advice? There's so many. But the main one is show up for yourself. Like, whatever you do today and beyond, it should be an investment to your future self. So if that means making that cup of coffee and adding that whipped cream to make you smile inside because it's almost healing that little kid in you, then do it. Because now you know how to romanticize the small things in life, and then you'll be able to appreciate all the goodness that comes for your future. And furthermore, just be a badass, man. I know there's some men to listen to this, but like, y'all can be bad bitches too, because my man is one, okay? He go get his hair cut, he go get manicures, pedicures, facials, all that. Like, do that. Take care of yourself, because everyone should be the best version of themselves. If I can create a utopian society, that's what it will be. Everyone's being their best self.
Oh, I love that. Sharnell, you blew this out of the water with no surprise there. So if you're listening to this and you want Sharnell's self-care challenges, head to the show notes or to work with her and see what she's got going on, and listen to her podcast that's coming soon. But tune in again next week for another episode of That's Business.